All right, let's kick off our mentoring session today by looking at a phrase I guarantee you hear constantly from your American colleagues. Absolutely agree. I mean, you hear it whether you're proposing a massive structural reorganization or just suggesting you guys order pizza for lunch, right?
Then, there's this variation. You'll hear this one casually tossed around the conference room when someone presents what is, frankly, just a mildly decent idea for a slide deck template. Completely agree. And finally, there's this one. Strongly agree. It's the one that probably makes your rigorously trained, data-driven instincts just scream in frustration. Because, let's be real, you know for a fact there is absolutely no data to back up that level of certainty.
So, before you judge your entire team as intellectually sloppy or just prone to careless exaggeration, we need to ask what is actually happening behind these extreme words. Are they really claiming absolute, universal, logical truths? Or is this just stylistic noise?
Well, let's dive into it. Welcome to this explainer. Think of this as your executive decoding ring for navigating American corporate communication. Look, as a rising professional, understanding this dynamic is literally going to save you so many headaches, and I am here to help you translate the whole shebang.
Here's a super quick roadmap for our session today. 1. The language barrier. 2. Decoding social signaling. 3. A tale of two cultures. 4. The corporate translation guide. And finally, 5. Finding your own voice.
Section 1. The language barrier and why it all feels so off to you.
Listen, if you come from a rigorous precision-based background, like the Singapore corporate style, your brain is simply wired differently. You're trained to avoid overstatement at all costs. You maintain nuance. You absolutely do not commit beyond what can be logically defended. For you, precision directly equals credibility. If someone is imprecise, boom, they automatically lose your trust. So when you hear someone casually say absolutely, your brain evaluates it literally. Your internal monologue goes something like, wait, nothing is absolute, therefore this speaker is intellectually sloppy. And honestly, that's a completely valid standard to hold. But the hard truth is, you are operating on a totally different wavelength than your American counterparts.
Section 2. Decoding social signaling. What are they actually trying to say?
Okay, here is the absolutely crucial concept you need to internalize. In American corporate settings, absolute terms are used as social signaling. Think of them like a verbal handshake. They are not making deep, philosophical, epistemological commitments to universal truths. When they say absolutely, it's really more like seasoning on the conversation rather than the actual substance of the meal.
So what's actually happening in your meeting when people throw around these massive, weighty words? Well, they're signaling enthusiasm. They are throwing out group harmony cues, basically saying, hey, I'm with you. It's low-stakes agreement language designed to keep the momentum going. It's not a sworn testimony of fact.
Section 3. A tale of two cultures. Accuracy versus alignment.
Now, neither approach is inherently better, okay? The American style emphasizes alignment first. They want to connect, they want to build momentum, and they figure they'll just worry about the nuance later. By contrast, the Singapore corporate style emphasizes accuracy first. For you, alignment is achieved through absolute clarity and correctness. This contrast is brilliant because it perfectly explains why communication breaks down between you and your colleagues. It all comes down to what risk you're trying to avoid. Your default safety settings are literal opposites. They are terrified of being the unfriendly or oppositional one in the room, and you are terrified of being the careless or exaggerated one.
Section 4. The corporate translation guide. Time to use your decoder Reddit.
To make this work, you need a mental recalibration. They're the exact same words, but you have to apply a totally different decoding key. If you keep interpreting these phrases literally, you're only going to see red flags. But if you interpret them culturally, those flags of exaggeration instantly transform into nice little signals of low-friction communication and mild politeness. So check this out. You can literally use this translation matrix in real time. When your colleague says, absolutely agree, your literal brain hears, this is universally true. But the decoder, it tells you it just means, I support this direction. When they say completely agree, it doesn't mean it's 100% factual in all conditions. It just means I have no objections, let's proceed. And my absolute favorite, love this idea. In a literal sense, that implies deep emotional affection, right? But through the decoder, it rarely means they want to frame your spreadsheet and hang it on their wall. It just translates to, yeah, works for me. Use this to filter out the stylistic noise so you can focus purely on the actual business decisions. Section 5, finding your own voice and exactly how you should respond. The really good news here is that you don't need to adopt their exaggerated style.
Seriously, you don't have to start saying you absolutely love a new software update. You just need a strategy to remain socially fluent while protecting your own credibility. So, step 1, translate their noise in real time. Step 2, keep your mental energy focused on the actual decisions. And step 3, respond in your own precise style, but strategically add just a little bit of warmth. Here is a perfect script you can keep in your back pocket. It lets you stay incredibly precise without sounding cold or unsupportive. Notice how reasonable this sounds. I agree this is a balanced approach. One consideration is, see, you aren't claiming absolute truth, but you are offering that all-important verbal handshake before you add your analytical nuance. Let's look at one more script and see how this actually builds your reputation. I'm aligned with this direction with a note on, this is fantastic executive communication. You are confirming alignment first, which is exactly what the American style craves, before gracefully introducing your necessary nuance, which completely satisfies your own standard of rigor. Best of both worlds. So, here is the blunt truth of the matter. They are not claiming philosophical absolutes. They are just waving little flags that say, hey, I'm on your side. Once you stop listening to the textbook definitions and start seeing these phrases as little flags of support, I promise you, the whole corporate scene gets so much quieter and way less frustrating. Now that you have the decoder ring for American corporate speech, here is my final question for you to chew on. Are you going to keep fighting their conversational style, or will you use this new fluency to take control of the room and really accelerate your career? The choice is absolutely yours. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. You've got this. I'll see you next time.